Hi everybody, it's Josh with Talk About Trek, and I'm back today because the dust has settled, and I'm ready to do a final thoughts video on the first wave of the 2022 Playmates. So that's what we're going to look at today. Just basically, who did I think was the best? Who did I think was the worst? What am I looking forward to, coming down the road here? So without further, and there will be a surprise at the end too. So stick around for the surprise. We got something else to talk about. All right, so as we know, there were 9 of these Playmates released. So for me, I will say my least favorite out of the group is Lieutenant Commander Data here. And it is not because he is just a terrible toy. Not by any means. I think the reasoning for me is when they first made this toy, back in 95 or whatever, he had a little arm panel that could open up and a little back panel that could open up. And my thoughts are, if you were going to remake this toy, all these years later, and you're going to make a new Data, why not at least give him that same functionality that the other one had? Because that really made that toy special. So, while this is a nice toy, out of all the 9, I think this is kind of the lowest effort that they put forward here. Because, man, it would have been great to see just maybe one little opening panel. Maybe one at his head. That would have been sweet. So Data was my least favorite of the line. And this might come as a surprise. I'm a big TNG guy. But Picard is my second least favorite. And I think it all just kind of stems from we've seen this before. If they were going to go back and make another TNG Picard, why not just do something a little bit different? And this reasoning is going to sound flawed when I get to the end, but that's fine. This is my list. It doesn't matter anyway. The other reason is I'm just not a huge fan of the face sculpt. I mean, it's good, but it's a little bit of a sterner Picard, maybe. But it's a good toy, but like I said, if they're going to do, go back and re-release or remake kind of these old toys they've done before, do something different, do something special. Okay, so next here is our Kirk. So the Kirk, again, it's a good toy, but it's just nothing special. We've seen the Kirk in this uniform before, albeit not with this kind of great detail. And the face and the hair are not the greatest that they could be. But, again, I'm saying all this, but this is a fantastic toy. Just in this 9, he falls right there. It was a little bit harder to pick from here on out. So, for the next 2, before we get to the top 3, I had a bit of a rough time. And I guess I'm just going to go with Burnham next. While the Discovery uniform is great, and I think the sculpt is pretty good, compared to the last 4, it's just not as good. So she's sitting kind of right in the middle of the pack here. And then we have Archon. And even though Archon has been done before, I decided to put him in the number 4 spot, just because I really think they did go the extra mile on his everything, really. The detail on the worn uniform here is awesome. So the con figure, they really did a good job. They should have made him a little bit meaner. His face is a little bit plain. He could have been a little bit meaner. All right, so now we're in our top 3 here, the final 3. And you probably all know how this is going to go down, I would think. But for me, number 3 here, I did go with our Live Long and Prosper Captain Spock. Again, this was awesome. Something we haven't seen before. Spock in this uniform. The poses are great. The accessories that he came with are great. And the face sculpt and the hair, I think, look pretty good, too. So, this Rathacon Spock takes the number 3 spot, for sure, for me. Now, we've got number 1 and number 2. So who do you think is going to be number 2? None other than number 1. So, even though I placed Data and Picard here in the bottom, I did choose to place Riker in the top, and that is me just fan favoriting it. I would say I am a big Riker fan, always have been. So I had to put Riker in the top spot, or close to the top spot, just because I was happy that they did revisit and make another one. Even though there's nothing special. They didn't even go with the ripped shirt Riker or anything like that. But I will say that I think that his face sculpt out of the 3 TNG ones is the most solid. The beard looks solid, the uniform looks great, and he's posable enough to do the actual Riker maneuver. So, number 1 here gets the number 2 spot. So, that can leave only one number 1 contender, which of course is the wonderful Captain Saru that they did. And I will gush about this toy for days and days, because for me, this is the best one they have put out. The gold on the uniform looks awesome. The detail on the uniform is incredible, down to the boots and everything. It's just a fantastic figure. Closer look at the Kelpian feet here. The head sculpt is great. And I guess what this makes me excited for is to see what Playmates is going to do and what they're going to bring us for the Prodigy line. Because while all these toys are great, to see a more alien figure brought to life with different features, he's taller, he's got these awesome feet. So it makes me excited for the Prodigy line to come. And they're going to be able to do a lot of really fun stuff with that, I think. The pictures that we've seen so far of that really do make it look good. So coming in with the number 1 spot here is our Captain Saru. So I promised you guys a surprise at the end, and I will not disappoint. So I was able to go out to the store over last weekend and found this bad boy on the shelf at Target. And I wasn't initially going to buy this or the Enterprise, just because I do have many Enterprises, and it was different, but not too different. But I do have a lot of accessories, but I don't have this classic phaser. And really glad I picked it up, because man, they went over the top with this thing. So let's get a closer look at our phaser here. So we've got it powered on here, and it does come with 3 settings. You can set it to stun, to kill, and to overload. So here's your first setting. That's the final setting. So that's overload. Okay. I think we'll be fine. Anyway, that's the overload setting. And then you've got stun and kill. This is really well made. It doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't feel like it's going to fall apart. And if I had like a TOS uniform, this would make a great, cosplay accessory, really. So, and cheap too. It really was not too expensive. So for the price, for what they did, Playmates did a great job with this phaser, for sure. So, what else is going on in the world of Star Trek? We are coming up very close to the New York Comic Con. I think it's coming up next Saturday, the 6th, I believe. And expect more Star Trek news coming out. They will definitely have panels for Picard, probably something going on for Strange New Worlds, and hopefully we're going to get to see more of what's coming in this upcoming season of Prodigy, which is coming later this month. So lots of great stuff coming in the world of Star Trek. I have started Over a Torrent Sea, a Star Trek Titan book, which is excellent so far, so looking forward to talking about that when that's done. And also lots of great Lower Decks episodes that have come out. We're on episode number 6, and if you haven't watched any of those, go back and watch them. The last one especially was fantastic with a revisit to DS9. So I think we're going to call it for today. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, live long and prosper, and we'll see you next time. Bye.